We're live, apparently, and we got caught in the middle of talking about siestas and not siestas. But welcome. It's what happens. It's that time of the week where we start you off with some of the best talk you'll find anywhere on TV. From the biggest stories making headlines to the issues shaping Nigeria's future, we're diving deep into the discussions that matter right here on Jasiri. And as always, we're bringing you insightful analysis, engaging debates, and the voices that drive change. So stay with us. This is Jasiri, and the conversation starts now. Ladies, it's been a while. That's what we were caught. Yeah. There was a caught. We were talking.
Yeah,
we're talking. Weekend.
Kathy was going to bitch about what you did before we came on.
What did I do? What is it?
Not allowing
I love the way Blessings eyed you, and you missed it. Wow. But me, I caught it.
Yeah.
Oh,
why you allowed them not to chew on their bread like hungry children?
Because you say yes.
Yeah, Tolu just blocked me. I felt so...
Me that I lied to everybody that you guys don't eat in the morning.
I was in shock.
Look at me, look at Tolu. Who would push
Catherine pushed me. I said, you pushed me?
Wow.
Then, as she pushed her, she pushed Tolu into her feminine energy. She walked into the studio channeling some kind of Barbie vibes. What's going on? And she said her weekend was restful. So this is what rest does to you.
Yes.
It makes you softer.
It makes me softer.
Wow. Your masculine energy is really irritating.
Wow. I try to push it back.
Yeah, please.
And I don't like calling it my masculine energy.
Okay, your energy for work.
Whatever it is. Yes, my work energy. Yeah.
Yes, and Blessings
now you're
was having a bad week.
I thought you were focused
weekend.
How was your weekend, Blessings?
It was a weekend.
Weekend end.
Yeah. She was stressed out.
Ooh, but yeah, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
We get through it.
Yeah, my own weekend. My Friday was very busy, but I lost a very, very important friend on Friday. That's when I knew how to compartmentalize. The news came to me in the middle of the work I was doing. I had to put it. Yeah. So on Friday, on Saturday, I cannot lie. I had to mourn, and I cried. I was in my room all day because she's a very close friend of ours. She had been battling breast cancer for like 5 years, and she passed on Friday. We've been doing prayer chains for the past week, and we're just believing God for the best. So it really hits us hard. And when you lose someone close, you start to think on your days, on the choices you are making on a daily basis. And you want to love upon your circle some more because it's just how far you can. Nobody has monopoly over this time. We're just living the one that we're graciously given, So that's how I spent my weekend. And I had one of my girls came home on Saturday, Sunday to do a photo shoot for her new collection. I had to set aside that and just do...
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did you come out of?
I love the colors, by the way.
Blessings.
Kathy, she's been wearing sun yellow forever.
So I'm like a tree, because I've been here all the time.
Well, the green does look like a tree, but...
I told her she looked fruitful this morning, so money is coming to Kathy. You were asking how because of this job we do, there's something we call the show must go on. So when I tell people that we're very human on this table, they don't believe it. We go through pain, we cry, we feel each other's challenges, but we'll know that sometimes, because you have to just keep doing what you have to do, you have to show up for yourself. Yeah. Because a lot of people are looking up to you for inspiration, for guidance. Some women look at us and they just think our life has no challenges. But that is far from true. But the only thing you can get from us is that we know how to show up for ourselves, for you out there, so that you know that sometimes life can be hitting you on the side, but you are not going to allow it beat you down. Because once you can be on your back, that means anything can climb on top of you. Yeah, so you have to show up for yourself. And that's why when I talk to people about grief, I say, don't tell people how to grieve.
How to grieve, yeah.
You can't teach them. It comes to them. It's theirs.
And accept it the way they grieve.
Yeah. Accept the way they grieve.
Accept it.
I miss Muyi. Today as I was coming to work, I remembered how she hosted, when I got married the first time, she was the one that hosted my testimony night in her house. I could remember it. But I just know that you have to keep showing up. And it doesn't mean that, and some people say, Lola lost someone and she was still emceeing, she was still doing her job. I said, no. Imagine if I broke down, a chain of events will follow.
Yeah.
That would be worse than if I just held myself a little bit and just pushed through. I had Saturday and I was happy that I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I didn't leave my room for hours. In fact, it was when my kids, everybody was like, mommy, mommy. I came downstairs and sat with them for a little while. That was why I came. So we're very normal.
Yeah, we are. I remember many years ago. Do you guys remember the Dana crash?
Yeah.
I had a friend on that crash, and I remember that was 256 era. So I just started getting phone calls like an hour before I was going live. And as Lolo said, you know, we've been doing this for so many years, and we're used to. You suck it up. You suck it up through relationship challenges, through a child being sick, through so many issues. And so I went on air, and I thought I was keeping it together. I was not. I faltered. I've had very few times in my almost, I think, 20-year history of journalism where I broke down on air. I even had callers call me and say, it's okay, just play us music. It was so fresh. It was so there are times you'll see it, and I think those times remind us that we're human. But then there are times you will not see it. And those times will also let you know that there's the professional in all of us, you know.
Yeah.
Like this morning, I've been calling my parents and they're not picking up. So right now, my head is in a boomer show.
Yeah,
you know?
I know.
You'll sit, you know how we do it? You'll sit here, meanwhile, it's mentally you're
And well, you have been harassing Daddy of late.
I've been harassing
Maybe that's
both of
why I
them.
didn't pick up your call.
I've been harassing both of them.
And I think sometimes you don't even know that it's getting to you. Like for me, I did not know that I was emotionally unstable until I started looking around and I saw that my house was disorganized. That's how I know that I'm not. It's
Really?
Like, I just
For you?
I leave things on the floor.
That's how I know I'm
Oh
safe.
yeah, I'm a mess.
When my mess
I get
is
it.
messing.
You know, I have that couch in my room where all the clothes go.
Yeah.
But when the moment I come in, I say, I can't live like this again. The moment I straighten the couch, I know that, okay, I'm getting
You're
back
back.
to my
I was going to say, there's something
No.
therapeutic about putting your stuff together, arranging it, whenever that time comes. Because sometimes you leave it abandoned for so long, weeks, days, months. But that day, there will be a day where you just open that door and start and say, okay, all right, it's clean.
Enough of this.
I'm the opposite of all these ladies.
Your weekend.
If my room is tidy, then something is wrong. Yes,
Seriously?
if I'm cleaning, then just know that I'm going through a lot mentally. But when I see my clothes on the floor where I
You
never
like
sleep with
it?
them, I just, it
That's my
makes me
sister.
feel huggy.
My sister would say, don't move anything. I know where
Yeah.
everything is.
Yes.
No, I get lazy.
can't.
The more hurt I am,
cannot.
the lazier
No, I know
am.
you are all like that, but I'm happy to be on my own separate place.
Please, why is nobody
Catherine
talking
had
about
entered my
this
room
heat?
before, and she cleaned everywhere. I was so afraid of the room for days.
I couldn't.
She just collected my key. And for hours, I was working on radio. Kathy was doing Omodo work. Mopping, doing
couldn't stay. And when I finished, I slept.
Yeah.
I can't drive in. I can't. Sorry, guys. It's just.
Why are we not talking about this heat though?
Which heat?
This heat.
in the heat
Oh, now you're feeling it.
No, it's the heat wave. There is a
Omo.
heat wave across a large parts of
Africa.
Nigeria and a large
Nigeria.
part of Africa. Last year, 2024, was the hottest year on record ever.
Last year.
Yes,
Ever.
and the year before that, 2023, was the hottest year on record. And 2022
this year
was
is
the...
no.
So this year is already breaking
another-
records.
wow.
So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. What I can tell you is try to stay out of the sun. Try. And I know so
Try.
many people who work directly
In the
under the
sun.
sun. Try to drink as much water as possible. Try to keep your kids out of the heat.
Yes.
Do everything if you can in the early morning and the later days, later hours of the day, because right now we don't, but it's starting to rain. And what I've been telling people is, as intense as
We
the
need more
heat
rain.
has been, guys, let's prepare to be
For the
Noah's
rain,
Ark for the rain. No,
Yes.
we're going to be canoeing when it
Canoeing.
rains. This
Yeah.
when rainy
Better, the
season
weather
really
comes.
starts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let the rain. Because it's already
Anyway,
looking that
now
way.
that we're talking of rain, you know, when it rains,
Yes,
it pours.
it pours. And it smells.
And it smells everywhere.
that's not-
because-
come on.
So, ladies, I want to hear what you guys have to say, because our Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources in Lagos, he had a lot to say during the weekend. And about the whole conversation about Lagos smelling or not. This may or may not be related to the NYSC core member who made the news about 2 weeks ago for calling out the Tinubu administration. During her rant, she also mentioned that she was shocked at how bad Lagos smelled. She went on to apologize about the comment a few days later. However, the conversation has not ended there. Well, on Saturday, Wahab took to his X account to state that Lagos is not smelling. Wow. it is evolving. Saying he was setting the record straight, he said the smell that we might associate to Lagos is an evolving smell. He voiced his displeasure on the wrong notions about how Nigerians have been, perceiving Lagos as being a smelly place. He said it again like in shock. Lagos is not smelling. Lagos is evolving towards sustainable waste processing, modernized landfill management, cleaner waterways, and structured sanitation systems. He also shared Lagos State's plans, which include waste management with efforts to decommission landfills, improve sanitation enforcement, and transition towards waste-to-energy solutions. However, he has explained, his explanation has actually sparked a lot of reactions from Lagosians. And you know when Lagos decides to react, it is reactions. So please, let's take some of it. It's evolving.
The problem with the government is that they don't have the stomach to accept criticism. They always want to fight back, defend hypocrisy, and shut the mouth of the observer. That's not how to run government. You must be ready to accept criticisms and also work on what people saw. This one says, sorry, Lagos is smelling. Writing threads will not eliminate reality. We are not happy it's smelling. It's a health hazard and it's an irritating convenience to citizens. You should simply say, we have received your feedback and we are working to ensure that this issue is sorted. Finish.
Okay, it also says, it's very obvious we all have a role to play. Lagosians, please do your bit. Dispose of your refuse properly. Report infractions to the appropriate authorities. See something, say something. Honorable Commissioner, you're doing a great job. Keep it up.
You will love it.
My honorable sir, we have to be sincere to ourselves. Unless we're trying to deceive ourselves in front of international community, Lagos is really smelling bad. Sir, tour around some areas like Oshodi, Mushin, Orile, Ojota, Ojo, along Okoko, Agege, and Ketu. You will find out answer. I drove past Obalende and Adeniji just before ascending 3rd Axle Bridge, I guess 3rd Mainland, yes, with my windows closed tightly and air conditioning in recirculate. The offensive finds its way into my car. It's an accurate car, well built. I'm not the only person complaining of this. You know this thing you talked about, it was Lagos that taught me about the two forms of your AC.
Yes.
One that circulates the air inside, the other one that takes the air from outside. The day I mistakenly used the one that takes the air from outside, passing the wrongest place, Corey was like, Mommy, what is that? Why is it smelling? But to be all serious, in all seriousness, I don't understand why it's difficult to say we acknowledge that Lagos smells.
Well, maybe because they don't experience.
Maybe they don't. Maybe they walk in.
No, they cannot not experience it.
Well, it's
not
true.
in his position. He goes almost
He's the
everywhere
Minister of
around the
Environment.
state.
So I don't understand, because if this is how
It's
evolution
evolving.
smells, I don't like the smell of evolution. No. This same part that this guy talked about.
God.
The first time my AC stopped working and my glasses were down, I was singing and I started tasting the smell. I kid you not, I could taste the smell. I'm like,
Oh, Fiji bread.
I did not understand what was happening.
But the only, even aside the smell, what really aches me is the fact that I see refuse coming back.
So it's
Everywhere
like they're
turn.
not cleaning up as fast enough.
As before, but you know why I can say that it's coming back? Because there was a time, I think that Governor Fashola's time, honestly, Lagos was clean. You could hardly see refuse on the road, but now in some areas you will see the middle of the embankment, the divide, they use it as a landfill. People throw all their dirt and everything in there, and it's slowly coming back. And of course, you know, any little thing when rain starts, epidemic is coming close.
Guys,
and we've had cholera outbreaks some places.
Lagos is smelling.
It's evolving.
It's not evolving. No, Lagos is smelling. It is smelling.
It's evolvingly smelling.
It's evolving in smell. So, because there's nowhere you go to that you don't smell Lagos. Tolu, you talked about it. One day you came here venting that when you pass where? The National Theatre, you see human beings. They are blessing you with their derrieres.
Yes.
And they are busy at it. And this is just National Theatre. It's everywhere.
Everywhere,
if you go through what CMS, it's everywhere. You see that. There's refuse. There's defecation.
Human
there's
waste.
Urine. Lagos is shad dirty. You see the women who are cleaning, you see them sweeping every day. They're sweeping.
It's evolving.
They're doing
that
as they're
roadside.
sweeping, somebody is drinking something and throwing it outside the window of their motor. And
See the way people
So this
put
is
their
Lagos
wares.
Island.
Lagos
Somebody
Island.
has displaced
Yes,
time.
every time.
Somebody-
And people put their wares here.
Yeah. So I think it's a multi-leveled, multi-layered issue for me. So Lagos is evolving.
And this is exterior, ne?
Yes.
Let's talk about interior. The water. A man came to vent on social media over the weekend.
About the color of the water.
About the color of the
and his
water. And the fact that there was
We're going to talk about
water.
luxury. Everything is luxury.
Exactly.
About
So that's external. There's also internal dirt everywhere.
So what I think is,
But do we
I think it's
water
multi-layered.
surface? Yeah.
Lagos is evolving in their waste management because we have to give it to him.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
just on his timeline as going through it, they're clearing canals.
Yeah.
But they will clear those canals and people will put trash. There's a road I take, a back road I take to take Corridor to school. In January, they cleared it. As I was passing,
They've already-
people are already putting trash.
trash
So the
is
problem
gone.
is not, you remember, I don't know
Humans
if you know,
too, we have a
I don't know
lot
if
to
you
play.
guys saw the video this weekend of like a water truck spraying water at a guy that was urinating in
Yeah,
public.
and they said they
that's
should
what
do
they
that in
do somewhere in
Nigeria.
India, but that was a black guy, cha. But you know, I've always said it. We need to catch people.
Yeah.
We need to ruin
And
their
punish
days.
them.
We need to do immediate community service. Wear a vest
Yes.
that says I was caught doing something.
Yes.
I spend the next 5-6 hours cleaning up. Because,
clean all
the
the
state
canals.
is trying. I won't
Yeah,
I
they are
can't take it away
trying,
from
yeah.
them. But let's be honest, we are badly behaved.
Yes, we are
Many
as a
people are
people.
bad. Was it not just the last time that it rained that there was a video trending of a family that came outside to put all their
dirt,
dust?
yes.
So how many times?
And it's
because
because
we're
there are
talking
no
about the environment in the
consequences.
middle of market.
It's not the government that is putting it, the refuse there.
It's because there
I
are no
know it's
consequences.
people.
But there's also the problem with the PSPs. There's also the problem with the
Don't let me
management.
go
How
there.
regularly do you? So it's
You
a
check it.
multi-layered
Yeah.
problem.
It's-
So please acknowledge there's a problem. Lagos is smelling. Let's also forget Lagos is a seaside. I remember somebody this weekend, I saw her tweet that said she left Lagos and thought that Lagos was like the only smelly seaside, but she went to somewhere in Spain, I think, and she was at the seaside. She said, this place smells too. So then you also have to combine the environment where Lagos is.
No,
So it's a multi-layered
it then
problem.
depends on the
Acknowledge
level of the
problem,
smell and the
yes,
intensity of
work
the
on
smell.
it.
You know
Some
that every
smells
time,
are-
every time you go out of the city, honestly, when I went to that
Ogbomoso has the
resort
freshest
in
air.
Ghana, I can literally tell you that the air is
Tastes
cleaner.
different. It is. It is.
You can all those when you go to the village to visit your parents.
Yes.
When you start to get to all those Ekiti and you wind down, the air feels
That's when you
clean.
notice you're breathing.
So
Yes.
what makes it so that? Okay, forget that.
How many trees do you have
Urbanization.
left in Lagos?
Urbanization,
How
all
many
the
trees do you
trees
have left in Lagos?
are cut out.
How many people do you have in this city? How many houses have fully functioning sewage systems?
Have you seen some houses
That's
that
what
you
I'm
can put
saying.
your
If
hand
we're-
from one house into the other?
Catherine, last thing we have to go on a break.
Okay, so even when you were talking about that, being that Lagos State is trying and the state is trying and that human beings, we have our own. I'm asking, they've been trying, but for how long? You said they're clearing the canals. Did they just start clearing the canals? This is something that you would have done.
No,
from,
they
would have
do
done
it
from
almost year round
do
now.
it, oh.
From administration into administration, so it becomes a part, an intrinsic
Yeah.
part of what Lagos State is all about. That's on the one side. And then hold people responsible. Spray them water, spray them anything, wear them clothes, wear them anything.
Give them community
You
service.
need to
Imagine if
give
you wear
aura
a
for
jacket,
aura.
I peed by the side of the road.
Exactly.
But
So
that-
it's not. It's
Even
not.
though that
And they
one
will
is
take
okay.
your picture and you must post it
That
on your
one is
social
okay.
media.
Imagine if you miss a flight because of that. Imagine if you had to go to work and you went to work late because you have to do 4 or 5 hours of
Hours
community
of
service
community
because you were
No, I
caught.
go clear.
And
They
they
will
put
still
it on
punish
your
you at work.
social media.
No, they'll collaborate
And
with
they
you.
collaborated with you.
Let's take us on a break.
Okay, so, I mean, once you go Jasiri, you never go back. I'm telling you this because in a first, our guest for Hot Topics Special Friday is back with us on Monday to dig into a story that many have their eyes on. When we return, Damilola Ogunsi is back at the Jasiri table to look at a bill that looks to mandate offices in Nigeria for bloggers and online platforms. Stay with us.
You can join the conversation on social media. We are at News Central TV. Now today we're taking a look into a new Senate bill that could change how social media platforms and blogs operate in Nigeria. If passed, this bill will require platforms like Facebook, X, Instagram, and even blogs that serve Nigerian audiences to have a physical office in the country or face being banned. The bill proposed by Senator Ned Nwoko aims to improve accountability, ensure better regulation, and enhance user protection. But is this the right approach, and will it benefit Nigerians or create more challenges in the country? And this is a conversation we were to have on Friday with Hot Topic Special, but we got out of time. So now joining us to continue the conversation is like an extension of Hot Topic Special. I love it. On a Monday. Let's welcome back the blackest man in the room. I didn't write that. My producer wrote it. The goldfish, Damilola Ogunsi, is back at the Jasiri table. Welcome. I did not write that. That was my producer.
No, it's fantastic.
Looking swag.
I'm well described.
Looking
It's so cute.
all swagged up.
We love it.
Yeah, he's so
All right, let's go,
cute.
Lolo.
Okay.
I know that.
Oh my God.
I lost my composure because a dapper gentleman will always make you lose your composure. Yeah, don't read me.
Lolo, we started on time yesterday.
Okay, of course he had to come back because I wasn't here on Friday to love upon him. Anybody can just gore themselves, I don't care, or claw your eyes out. But anyway, did you have fun with the ladies without me?
Oh, he was amazing. It was
see?
amazing on Friday. It was beautiful. I had a
see?
good time. But
You
now
see?
I know we're about to up.
It's amazing.
We're about to raise the bar now.
Yeah.
Partial.
You know, when I saw this news, I was just laughing, honestly, because especially of who was proposing it. But it's okay. Everybody has a right. Anybody can bring a bill.
Yeah.
Let's get straight into it. On March the 18th, during a Senate plenary session, the senator representing Delta North, Ned Nwoko, introduced a bill in the Nigerian Senate aimed at amending the Nigerian Data Protection Act 2023. Having highlighted Nigeria's significant digital presence, stating that with a population of over 220 million people, Nigerians spend an average of 3 hours and 46 minutes daily on social media. It went further to remark that despite the high level of online activity, many of the major digital platforms lack a physical presence in the country. Unlike other countries where social media platforms, including major global companies like Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, TikTok, as well as Snapchat and other types, as well as bloggers, all have physical structures, as in offices. Hence, this is the need for the bill to be passed.
And in addition, according to the senator, the absence of physical offices in the country creates several challenges, including lack of representation, economic implications, as well as data protection concerns. All right, so he also insisted that they should have verifiable physical offices in any capital city and should also have a proper record of all their employees and belong to recognized national bodies, which should have its headquarters in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. The senator really thought about this. So he voiced his displeasure against having individuals who operate anonymously, saying, in quote, spreading information mostly false without any structure or accountability. Just like professional media houses, bloggers must be properly registered. They must be regulated to ensure professionalism and transparency. End of quote. But I didn't say so. He said it. Let's hear from him.
For the lead debate on the bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Data Protection Act 2023, problem of Nigeria by social media platforms and for related matters 2025 SB 650. Rise to lead this debate on a matter that is not only of national importance. Bill for an act to alter the Nigerian Data Protection Act 2023 LFN platforms and for related matters 2024 seeks to correct a glaring omission on how multinational social media companies engage with our country.
All right, so, I mean, we've seen the story, we've heard. In case you have not heard that story, now you've seen it, we understand the basis. Damilola, you have been itching to talk about this.
I'm telling you.
What was your first response when you heard that the Nigerian government wants social media companies to have physical offices here?
I had a good laugh. I actually had a very good laugh at the beginning of that. So when I listened to him speak, and I'm definitely sure he has his own points or has his own reasons why he wanted to push for that bill. So when I listened to it, I looked at it on two sides. Having social media platforms have their offices in Nigeria, then the bloggers. So let's start with the sweet one. They'll go to the sweeter ones. The sweeter ones are the bloggers. So we'll come back to them. So I started to ask myself that, what's the real importance? Because first off, let's look at it from a business perspective. Why should they be here? Why should they also have representations in every country? Now, if they are here in Nigeria, first, it makes it beautiful because, they'll be able to employ the youth, people in
local
IT and all that.
representation.
Local representation. All that is going to be absolutely glamorous. But you find out that when Elon Musk took over X, they had to start shutting down offices at different areas because of revenue. So also, it has to, while we want it this way, it has to make business sense for the organizations themselves. They are running a business, so what's the revenue they're making? What's the cost? Because now they're going to come here, they're going to look for offices, they're going to have generators because we have electrical problems. Now they're going to look for staff, they will furnish it. So whose cost is that on? So the big question at the back of it is why? Are they supposed to come here to be watchdogs? Or are they really coming here to do something that is really important? Look at what Google is doing. For example, look at, I love what Google is doing around the world. They have some of the largest amount of offices, maybe like 200 offices in about 60 cities. They're in Ghana. And, with all due respect to Ghana, even though we have better jollof than they do, the whole of Ghana is like the west of Africa. So how did Google go to stay in Ghana? Knowing that Nigeria has more audience, more users of their platform. But how did they go to Ghana? So does it say
it's
something?
It's an operational decision.
It is, but why couldn't they be here? Because we in Nigeria we have more users, we have a wider audience, we have more users. In Africa, Nigeria is actually the #1 in internet usage.
Yes.
All over Africa.
So it could have been a no-brainer for them.
But why? So we need to now really start to understand, why do we want to push for this bill? Is this something that's going to be mutually beneficial? Are they coming to open IT hubs, data labs? What exactly are they doing? So it's important. We really need to know why they are here. It must be something that's beneficial, not just mandate them to come and open offices.
Because you want to hold people responsible.
Okay, why? What's the deeper reason?
No, he says that he says that it's for employment, it's for data protection, and also to hold on. It's also to reduce the use of fake information. English. We're going on a break. We'll be right back because the sweeter is the part that I want Damilola to get to. When we come back, we'll pick that up. Now, Nigeria isn't the first country to demand more control over social media. Countries like India and Turkey have also introduced strict rules requiring platforms to have local offices and even comply with government oversight. In 2021, India introduced a law requiring platforms to have local grievance officers who report to the government. In 2020, Turkey forced social media companies to open offices or face heavy fines and slowdowns. And China, well, China is just China. They outrightly ban foreign platforms and control the internet. So Nigeria's push isn't unique. But the question it now begs us to ask is, does this approach work for us? Is it the right approach? Now, Damilola, you said there's sweet and then there's sweeter in this story. Let's get to the sweeter, because we all know we're heading to the blogs right now, and this is where we're going to fight.
I mean, if we're really going to be honest, as far as I'm concerned, I actually think that, talking about the platforms coming is the John the Baptist to the real conversation, which is the blogs. I'm sure they probably just put that there so that, water the ground, let it look like we're doing something for the society, we care about the people. But yes, so now let's start talking about the blogs. The truth is, so I've listened to him and I understand the fact that, freedom of speech is really, really important. We want to be able to, be vocal, say what we want to say, communicate. But another thing is that we have turned the society into something else because we have lots of crazy bloggers who are actually pushing a lot of nonsense into the society. Like I said on Friday, there are times when you have conversations with people and you can basically hear Instagram lingo in what they're saying.
Yeah.
So you know that people are basically living, feeding off, and having their perceptions guided by what they find online.
social media.
So while I
social
understand that, okay, do they want to muffle the voice of the people because it shouldn't be stifled? I mean, look at what they've done in Turkey. Turkey is really just draconian with what they've done.
China's to the extreme.
India's ridiculous. But if you now begin to look at what's happening in Dubai, if you now go and look at how they are doing this in Dubai, you see that they are really doing it for the benefit of the society.
Decorum.
So now it goes back to, I believe that there should be a regulation that would regulate how these bloggers operate. Because literally, this is the year, you know that thing that somebody will be blogging from their house and said, I'm at home, come and beat me.
Yeah.
This is the year we should actually do that one.
Yeah.
And they should go and beat them.
Yes.
I'm not really like inciting violence, but that come and beat me
That
thing, it should be this year that we should, because there are no consequences. People just put everything out there, so the society is absolutely going crazy.
Was it not 2 weeks ago that they said Lolo had twins?
I had twins.
It was
and I
on
was in
Facebook.
that.
People were congratulating
and people
her.
were congratulating me.
Yes.
I actually believe that there must be some kind of regulation.
Yes.
And I've used Dubai as a yardstick, that when you go to Dubai, honestly, you can't access any pornographic sites. If these things can be done, it might not completely eradicate everything. But that's why I keep telling people that the youth of today, they no longer know what real journalism is and just blogging. Blogging is just because I have internet and I can talk. But we journalists, we fact check. We don't just bring out information, and some of these information, they are misleading. They can actually make something bad happen before they get to the root of it and say, oh no, that wasn't what really happened though. But the worst has already happened. But the bad thing about Nigeria is that they might say they have your good intention at heart. It might start out like that. But before you know it, it becomes a witch hunt.
So I was going to get there because, I mean, let's not lie, there is a certain level of moral decadence because they're at home, you can't beat them. That's number one. But the younger generation comes with a follow-come kind of audacity that looks like a threat to the government. So it's like, this is the other side of it. Speak against the government, talk about how terrible the administration is, you disappear. Because now they have control over it. Now they can, I don't know if you understand, it's like, it enables that stifling that we're trying to avoid. So how do we balance it?
So the thing is, yes, thank you for that question. So how do we balance it? First of all, the fact is that I really don't agree that it is this particular bill that should be passed. Yes, there should be some regulation, but it is not this one. Because also we haven't gotten to a place where, and we have to be very honest about it, while we all want a good country, we have not gotten to a place where the leaders and the led have trust for each other. So we have to be very clear on that. So how do we now begin to step forward? There has to be regulation on social media, or especially with the bloggers. Because for me, what's really painful is that they have really put to a very, and I say this with all due respect, that, you know, journalism and journalists who are really doing the real work of bringing the truth out there, they are basically almost pushing them to the sidelines. Now everybody relies on blogs for information. So there has to be some form of regulation. I'm not certain if it should be that everybody should have a physical address, you know, be able to trace them. And even if that happens, it is good. What's most important for me is what's at the back of it. Because if it's something that we're going to use to take people out,
a lot of people are worried about censorship.
Yes, we shouldn't take the right of people to be vocal and say what they need, because the truth is there are some things that, because of bloggers, are coming to light. Like, for example, in December, fake alcohol. If it wasn't for bloggers, we wouldn't even really know what's going on. So we need all those, but also, so it's how to strike the balance that we must all find.
Let me ask you, have you ever been the victim of a fake story?
Luckily, I have not.
Lolo?
Yes.
The mother of twins.
Just born twins. Several
And so when I
times.
ask that, because sometimes we like, this is coming from Senator Ned Nwoko, and we cannot ignore the elephant that's in the room with him on a bill like this. He's married to a Nollywood actress, and their relationship oftentimes is fodder for the blogs. Let's be honest, it is what it is. And he probably is not happy, but him not being happy, sometimes it can be the root of a bill, but it's not just about him. Let's not forget the situations around. There have been suicides because of social media threads that have come from threads that have ended up on blogs. There's been misinformation that has led to bad decisions. There's been a lot. People themselves have been affected, but we don't see them because they're not in the public eye. So for me as a journalist, it's an interesting conversation to have, because overall I believe in freedom of expression.
Yeah.
But I think that people forget that that freedom of expression can often come with consequences because your expression is not always true.
Yes.
Your expression is an opinion. It doesn't mean that your expression is fact or true. And I think that's where I have a problem with many Nigerians. Oftentimes they think that that expression is what it is.
Yeah.
It's not always what it is.
But the
Sorry, one more thing. And then I noticed that I think it's India that has grievance officers. And I love that. The reason I love that is because a lot of fake stories go out. So if your office has a social media platform, this is for platforms now, has a grievance officer and there's a fake story out about me, do you know, there's a page that has been impersonating me for years on Facebook. Facebook is asking me to bring my national ID, my Kinika. If you know how many hoops I need to jump through to prove that I am me, meanwhile a fake page is existing, I just left it. There's a parody account on Twitter, I just left it. So if there's a grievance office that I can go to, I can directly deal with those things immediately. And so there's a point to it, but because of that trust deficit, we will not trust them to have our best interests at heart.
Take a look at this. If you get grievance officers versus setting up real offices. Setting up offices takes money. You have to buy a gen. You have to employ.
How many bloggers do you have that kind of money?
Thank you.
To get to the office,
Now, if we look at grievance officers versus that, which is more effective is the grievance officer. If you have, and the grievance officer can work from anywhere. Listen, the beautiful thing about COVID was that COVID opened up our minds to this whole new world that you can work wherever you are. So if you have a grievance officer that's okay, this is a problem I have. Grievance officer A, Oga, do something. That one, you can now know that you're dealing with somebody and the work is getting done. But in Nigeria now, listen, you're even saying that the bill is even saying they should register with an association based in.
There's actually a bloggers association in Nigeria.
You understand?
There's association for everything.
I totally agree that. So this is one thing I want to say clearly. I'm for society, right? I want a better society. And I believe that the people who would make the society and can make the society better are the people in society, not just the leaders alone. So this is where and I like things being decently done and in order. Yes, if there's the Actors Guild of Nigeria, which I'm a member of, which helps actors and regulates all we do as actors. So there should be that union of bloggers as well, because at the end of the day, we need to totally still find a way of clamping down on misinformation. That's very important for me, because because we have been fed this unending diet of rights and privileges, and everybody wants to do what they want to do. I mean, a couple of years ago, right, your right is my responsibility. Because the thing is, a couple of years back, if someone was harassing you on the road, I would stop. People would stop and find out. But now, because we bring out the phone, I have data, I can go out there and say what I want to say. I can say my truth. So now, if I'm somewhere in the market and they are harassing you, I'll just walk on by. So at the end of the day, for me, but what's important is what kind of society are we building? If you look at, if you follow what's going on in Dubai, you find out that one of the things that the government has pushed out about the social media regulation is the fact that citizens should uphold their country. So whatever you do, whatever you post, have it in the back of your mind that this country where you belong is important. So it's like putting your best foot forward. And until we begin to see that, look, if we want Nigeria to change, yes, I want to make money. I want to have views online, but me coming out to spread bad information, it does not help anybody.
But in Nigeria, our own shoes are bad.
Let's go on a quick break. We'll be right back.
Our shoes don't condemn. So
And time is not with us, but there's something that Catherine landed on during the break, and you talked about the control that it seems that government wants to exert and clamp down. So think about this bill coming into effect, and then you have a situation like NSARS pop up, or you have NBAD governance. What happens? It's very likely governments will go to, I'm not saying they'll go to the social media blogs in particular and try to tell them to depress the hashtag. Or they're saying that, okay, this is insurrection, or this is treason, or this is what it is. Get a court order to tell them to ban certain things. And that's where a lot of people, and it's not to say we don't have antecedents of this kind of behavior from our governments, from different administrations. So when we look at it, at the end of the day, you talk about balance. Where do we find that balance? If not this bill, when, where, how? The 5 W's and the H. Who, what, where, when, how? There are many bloggers that don't know that. That is the composition of your story. And one of my pet peeves is I don't believe in citizen journalism. Journalists, citizens are not trained to be journalists.
Yeah.
You don't
I agree
understand
with
the
you.
ethics
I agree with you.
and the ethics of
But
the
unfortunately,
profession,
that's what people
the norms
believe
of the
in now.
profession.
Yes.
But because we all have a fault,
Anybody
we all
that
take
has a fault.
pictures.
Exactly.
So how do we find that balance? And then how do we maybe navigate our people back to news is... I won't say news is only on traditional media, but news needs to meet a certain standard. How do we do that and find the balance as well?
Okay, so firstly for me, before I just answer that question, my greatest concern about having those media platforms set up in Nigeria is exactly what you've said, what you said last. So there's something big is that because if they are in this country, they have to operate under the laws of this country.
Yeah.
So they can be shut down. The government can ask you to take something off the social media. So I suspect that could be one of the reasons why they'll be here, why they want them to be here, to do that. And if that is done, that should not work at all. We shouldn't allow that happen. So secondly, how do we now begin to find a balance? The truth is, at this moment, I know that there should be some regulation, but it can't be the one that's being proposed. We still have to get, because we constantly still need to be able to call out bad governance as bad governance at will. We should be able to
At
do
12
that.
a.m.,
Yes,
at 2:30
any
a.m.
time. Because if it
Anytime
wasn't
I
for
feel like
social
it.
media, all the things that we are debating was happening in River State and all that. If it wasn't for social media, it could be kept hush-hush and kept within, a certain jurisdiction. So how are we going to find this balance? The balance would, so eventually, I believe that we will get to that point. At this point in time, I don't think we're ready for that conversation on balance. We still need to be calling out bad governance and be able to point out this is
Despite the fact that they have offices
because
everywhere.
we need to also see change from the top.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Then when we begin to see change, so it's twofold. We have to start seeing change from the top. Then we are the lead also. We need to start making decisions that, look, we can't allow this to go on. If you know somebody who has a bad blog or who's putting out wrong information, disinformation into society, there should be laws that should deal with those kind of people.
Yeah.
So there should be consequences for putting bad information out there. But at the end of but it's not about you stifling it and government having control. So we still need to be able to call out bad as bad. Because people are really genuinely suffering. So you can't cut that off. But also, we are led to, because society is just going crazy. With the kind of things we see, with the kind of things out there, with the opinions, with the perspective, with the mindset, with the way we are rewiring.
Have you ever read some of our reactions on the show? That one of the things that begs my understanding is, how are people able to think in this base manner? And unfortunately for us, once you see one thread, you will now see 200 uninformed, uneducated, unintelligent.
Yeah.
They just follow what it just sounds like, a sarcastic comment. Yes, this is good. And everybody just follows sacrosanct. And by the end of the day, when you now look at the real story, it has no correlation to what was even commented on.
I wonder that these same people, the people who are the leaders of tomorrow.
Which leaders of Gen Z?
Because we have to face that as well. When you read comments online, you almost become brain dead.
Yes!
Oh so you know what?
Yes!
This thing you're saying, it means to me also that it's a curriculum issue. I don't know how many of you have watched that Netflix show that's trending right now, but I also think that there has to be a conversation in the curriculum in which we empower our young people about social media. About understanding, about being able to identify fake news, knowing certain things. It's no longer okay for us to just let young people stumble onto social media and behave anyhow. Let's put it in our curriculum. Let it be part of civic education.
Civic education, Lunsoy. When some curriculum, have you seen some of the curriculum in schools? Many of it has not evolved. The last time we had that brilliant lady that...
Dr. Joy.
Dr. Joy. We need our curriculum, as it is, upgraded to be a little impactful, at par with what obtains in the civilized world. So that's a separate conversation. Anyway, this has been a very insightful conversation. I want to say thank you to Damilola Ogusi for joining us on Jasiri today. This was an excellent start to a beautiful and wonderful week. We've come up with a powerful lineup this week, so you don't want to miss it at all. And this debate is not even over at all. Will this bill pass? Will social media companies comply?
VPN.
And most importantly, will it help or hurt Nigerians? Let's continue these conversations online. We're there to read it. We would love to hear from you. But from all of us at News Central on Jasiri Table today, we'll say, see you next time.